Hello everyone, this is Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw! And we're back with another Pokemon Unite best build guide for this little guy. Look at that muscly back, Machamp. So make sure you're ready. Put on your special glasses. Okay, I'm ready. You don't need special glasses, I was just joking.
What? What do I do with these?
I don't know, throw them away.
Ah!
Some people are gonna say that that was unnecessary, and you know what? They're right. It was. Welcome back. If you've seen some of my guides, if this is your first time, I'm very, very sorry I did that. In this video, I'm going to break down Machamp. We're going to go over battle items, held items, his entire move set, and what I think the best build is for Machamp right now. We're going to see gameplay footage, and I'm going to show you little tips and tricks on how to use all of the moves. So, come along with me, won't you? There's our muscular son Machop into Machoke and Machamp at level 9. His first move is Karate Chop or Bulk Up. I think you'd often choose Karate Chop. Bulk Up is a passive buff. It's good when you're in the jungle, but you gain a level so quickly, there's not a lot of reason to talk about this. However, I do think Bulk Up can be used pretty effectively in the jungle. Let me show you. So you can see right here, I'm jungling with Machop, and this Bouffalon's gonna knock me over, but since I use Bulk Up, he actually doesn't hit me with his move and stop me from attacking. Nothing crazy, but it helps you clear the jungle a little faster. Not to mention the fact that your move speed and attack are also increased, so it's really nice for clearing out jungle camps. These next two moves are the big decision makers of your Machamp build, either Dynamic Punch or Submission. I think the more popular choice is Submission, while I think Dynamic Punch is a little easier to use, and I actually prefer running Dynamic Punch on all the Machamp rounds that I've played. So let's talk about Dynamic Punch. Machamp jumps to the designated location, dealing damage to the Pokemon in the area of effect and leaving them unable to act when it hits. And then you can see it gives you a slew of bonuses. You're immune to hindrances, your movement speed is increased, your basic attack speed is increased, and your next attack becomes a boosted attack. Also, at level 11, it further increases attack and move speed. It's great. It's really great. And it is a jump, which means you can go over obstacles. Let me show you. You can use Cross Chop and Dynamic Punch to jump over this wall right here. You can head back and forth using these abilities. You can also jump obstacles like these walls here, and you can head over here and jump slightly larger walls. Cross Chop doesn't make the gap, but Dynamic Punch does. And now on to Submission. It increases your movement speed and makes you immune to hindrances, so no one's stopping you. When the next basic attack hits, your attack deals increased damage and you slam them onto the ground, and there's a little animation as part of this. I think that's one of the most important parts about Submission, is that it holds that Pokemon there for a half second while it slams them on the ground. And then of course, just like Dynamic Punch, after this move ends, you get some boosts. So your critical hit rate goes up, your basic attack speed also goes up, and once it upgrades at level 11, it further increases critical hit rate and basic attack speed. This boost, as well as the fact that you hold a Pokemon there for a half second, is why I think it's so much more popular. This is really good for grabbing one of your opponent's Pokemon when they're trying to retreat and making sure your team can collapse on it. My guess would be that high-level play, Submission is a stronger choice, but I think for ease of play, Dynamic Punch is a much more simple option. I actually liked it a lot more than Submission. Your next move choice at level 7 is between Close Combat and Cross Chop, and while I think Close Combat is fun, I don't think this one's much of a comparison. I think Cross Chop wins this pretty handily. Close Combat is nice for dealing with neutral wild Pokemon, and you can use it jungling to a decent degree, but it just doesn't compare to Cross Chop in my opinion. I think Close Combat is a pretty fun ability, but I just don't think it works as well as Cross Chop, and Cross Chop is a dash and scales so well. Let me show you. With Cross Chop, you dash forward, hitting the enemy, and it increases your critical hit rate. It has a really low cooldown, so you're able to dash a lot. I start a lot of encounters with a Cross Chop into a basic attack, into one of my other moves, back into a Cross Chop. It's a pretty great combination. And when it gets upgraded at level 13, you increase your attack with each basic attack up to a set max, which is 40. Let me show you what that looks like. Once you hit level 13 and your Cross Chop is upgraded, your attack will go up every time you land basic attacks. So you can see I'm doing 1163 damage to this substitute. But now, after one basic attack, I'm doing 1166. After more, and you can see a counter building in the bottom right of the screen, I'm doing even more damage. Let me let it reset. Sorry, there's no way to fast forward. They haven't invented the technology yet. 1194 damage. So all you have to do once you hit level 13 is just land basic attacks. This can happen in the normal process of battling your opponents. You could also do it to wild Pokemon. Right now, I will show you me at 40 stacks of this, which is the max. Actually figured out how to fast forward. Turns out it was super simple. And now you can see I'm doing 1285 damage with this attack. Well, that was a crit, but 1285 damage. So your attack gets boosted considerably, basically passively, just from having cross chop and making it to level 13. That, on top of the crit chance and on top of the fact that it's a dash, is why I think it's a much better choice. Let's talk about your Unite move, Barrage Blow. You increase your movement speed, attack, defense, special defense for a short time. If used again, you unleash a big combo, dealing damage to the opposing Pokemon in the area of effect and shoving them. And the final blow deals an especially large amount of damage. There's a strategy around using this Pokemon's Unite move. If you really need to push people, you can use his Unite move and then use it again right away to unleash the barrage. But otherwise, I would use the bonuses it gives you for a little while to beat everyone up, then unleash your barrage. It would look something like this. In this clip, I'm being chased down by this silly Haunter, and I decide to pop my Unite move. I beat him up for a little bit, and then I use it again to finish him off. It's much better in a larger battle setting, but you get the idea. Machamp has such a fun passive, which is Guts. Increases your attack when you're afflicted by a status condition. So this is the reason you see Machamp fighting you when you're a Venusaur and you throw down that little sludge bomb, and he does super well inside that area effect damage. His boosted attack is also nice. On every third attack, he deals increased damage when it hits, and it decreases movement speed of opposing Pokemon. Just helps you chase people down even better, or slow someone down who's chasing your ally. All right, you know what time it is. Battle items and held items time, so make sure you put on your special glasses.
What? I threw them away.
Oh, yeah, I was just joking. Funny. Really sorry about that. With battle items, I think you can kind of go with personal choice here. I don't have much to say about it, except I think the eject button is probably the best. Fluffy Tail is a decent choice because you're gonna be dealing with those objective Pokemon more often than other people, and Slow Smoke also helps you deal with enemies in a team fight, but it's up to you. Held items get a little interesting with Machamp because I actually think, similar to a lot of all-rounders, there are a few different ways that you can build Machamp. This build right here is using a Muscle Band, Scope Lens, and Buddy Barrier. My thought is, when I use my Unite move, I want to make sure I'm alive long enough to do some damage with it. I could even see running a Buddy Barrier and an Energy Amplifier to really take advantage of the Unite move. Also, he uses crits a lot, so a Scope Lens seems like a logical choice, and a Muscle Band is just good. Good on anybody. Another option would be a Float Stone. This Pokemon's going to be moving around the battlefield a lot, hopefully getting up in people's faces and disrupting team fights. So a Float Stone will help you move from lane to lane and assist your allies as best as possible. You got to make sure they don't focus down that Pikachu, so get in there. I think a Focus Band or an Assault Vest are also reasonable choices for this Pokemon. You know, you can build this guy a lot of different ways, and it seems reasonable. But right now, my favorite is Muscle Band, Scope Lens, and either Buddy Barrier or Float Stone. Let's take a look at some gameplay and talk early Machamp, which would be, you know, Machoke. I think he does really well at chunking people down early. For some reason, I was put in this lane by myself. You know how this game goes. So my main focus was just stealing as many neutral camps as I could. Of course, scoring in a situation like this, and then taking out Pokemon like that Haunter. He is really great at chasing people down, especially with submission. You can see right here, this Haunter's trying to focus me down, but using submission, I stun him long enough to pick up the KO there. And going one-on-one with a Haunter or a Gengar, it almost always ends up really, really badly. In general, I don't think that is Machamp's job. Here's a look at a Dynamic Punch Cross Chop Machamp that I built, and a team fight's happening, and when a team fight's happening, it's time to get on in there, use your Unite move, start trying to focus down some of the weaker Pokemon, and also make sure that everyone is not focused on your allies. It's not necessarily your job to get all the KOs, but sometimes when you jump in there and start going wild, it happens. Here's another situation where we could have been focused down easily by this Gengar, but we stun him with that dynamic punch, and it gives us enough time to take him down. You don't want to be fighting alone too much with Machamp. I know people are afraid of you, but you're much more formidable with an ally. Here's a move I really like doing with the champ. Faking a runaway and then popping my Unite move with Buddy Barrier, making sure my ally has health, and then just focusing down everyone around me. It's a great time. Also, I'm just very sneaky. I will steal your Zapdos. With 2 dash moves, you need to get rid of me before you start going for that Zapdos, because I will steal Zapdoses. I steal them. What are you gonna do? Arrest me? There isn't a court in the land that would convict me for stealing Zapdoses. Before I go, here's a little example of using a Unite move right away to push as many people off of scoring as I could. I think I got 3 of them in that moment. That, I would say, is probably the best time to immediately use your Unite move and then use its barrage ability right away. So there you have it, my Machamp best build guide. I hope you enjoyed it. My big suggestions are dynamic punch and cross chop, or submission and cross chop with the held items we talked about earlier. And then just remembering what your role is. You're possibly going to get a lot of the KOs, but your big job is to support your team. Some of the best ways you can do that are dealing with these neutral Pokemon, or getting all up in the enemy's face so they can't focus down your Ninetales and they gotta deal with you and all 4 of your arms. You're like a half an octopus out there, Machamp. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. If you liked what I'm doing here, a subscribe would be the nicest thing you could do for me, besides getting me a new pair of glasses, because I shattered them doing a very stupid bit. Let me know how you like to build your Machamp in the comments. I love you, and I'll see y'all next time. Mwah!